What is up, YouTube? Arcade 1-ups are a waste of money, and I'm going to talk about that more in this video. Now, as you can see behind me, I probably sound like the biggest hypocrite in the world. Why are you saying this when you have two cabinets right behind you? Well, so honestly, I have not paid for the cabinets behind me, guys. I won one in a giveaway that was at my work, and I also was given one for Christmas one year. Now, what I want to talk about today is why I am so actually happy that I never spent the money for this, because let's face it, guys, they kind of suck. And not only that, do they not function very well and other things, but they're also super expensive. So in the past, I made a video talking about this, and one of the main things that people always stood out was how unplayable I believe these cabinets are to be. So the first thing I want to discuss today is why I don't like them. Now, if you grew up actually in the arcades playing these cabinets, like the real original ones, you will understand that, you know, obviously they're sensitive. You have to have good joystick reaction. You have to have, you know, good click buttons. Yeah, I said good click buttons, but you have to have them actual functional. That was a funny word to put out there, but now when I'm playing my Mortal Kombat cabinet, it's impossible to play, guys. Now, I know a lot of people will jump out there and say, I play it just fine, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. Like I said, because I grew up with them, maybe it's different. But, like, I can't even perform Sub-Zero's Freeze Blast. I can't even really walk straight, because a lot of times when I push my joystick over, my character jumps up into the air like it can't register it correctly. And I'm not the only one. We got some people out there like the Rexer Show and stuff that talk about how unplayable these cabinets really are. And then, like I said, they are just getting more and more expensive. Now, I will admit that the Pac-Man one behind me, which was like an Ultimate Edition or Special Edition or something like that, it's got all those Pac-Man games on there in Galaga. I enjoyed that one a little bit. Now, the joystick seemed to want to register a little bit better, so I'm able to make those, you know, turns and everything like that you do with Pac-Man. But the Mortal Kombat one, on the other hand, people were telling me, well, you need to invest in so-and-so joysticks. You need to buy so-and-so buttons and stuff. I shouldn't have to, guys. Now, as much as these things are when they come out, you shouldn't have to invest in them to make them better. Now, if you want to mod them so that way you can play so much more, you know, games on them, like I've seen that done, and that's really cool. Like, my local game store has one, and I'll get into that a little bit here in a minute too. But they're just not. I can't enjoy the Mortal Kombat one. Like, I can't play it. I struggle with the first two guys, and then if I pop in the consoles versions, you know, I can obviously get to Goro. I can obviously get up to Shao Kahn and stuff like that. But for some dumb reason, these cabinets do not register at all. Now, the younger generation will enjoy these more, I believe. Like my youngest son, Anakin, he's 6 years old. He really enjoys it. And I don't know if it's just because, you know, cabinets are fun to play on or anything like that. But he also does not know any better. I think that's one of the key things, is he doesn't know any better. And with someone, like I said, that's had experience with original cabinets, it's hard to play, guys. And the resale value on these things are horrible. So not only do you drop a bunch of money on it, but the resale value is horrible. Now, I see these pop up on Facebook every once in a while, you know, for $100, $200, mostly around the $200 range, because people, you know, were like, well, hey, I dropped $600 on this. I want this much back for it, which I can understand, because I do that a lot of times with video games, obviously. But the market is just not there, especially in my area. Nobody is buying these. My Walmart stopped selling them a few months after the arcades started coming out, because nobody was buying them. I think we didn't even make it to Turtles in time. They were already stopped selling them because nobody was buying them. And yes, I know that obviously I haven't had the latest and greatest edition. You know, I haven't had the NFL Blitz. I haven't had some of the NBA Jams or the fifth variation of Mortal Kombat. Do you know that it seems like they release these things like every year? They get a new version that they come out with, so that old one that you bought a couple years before is obsolete. Like, I swear they're on like the third or fourth variation of Mortal Kombat, and it's a freaking joke, guys. Now, obviously, there's one-up shills out there, and they're going to attack me on this because they attacked me on my last few videos, but this is just an opinion piece, guys. I have two of these cabinets, and I just deemed them not worthy. And I know that you might not agree with that, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with that. But when it comes down to the brass knuckles, or brass tacks, or whatever the hell that freaking saying is, to me, they are just not worth it, especially if you're buying them new nowadays. Now, when I was talking about earlier, the resale value of things are horrible, I went to my local game store, and I've traded in sports titles. I've traded in racing games. I've traded in PS2 games and gotten money for them, and they barely had, like, they were scratched to hell. They were barely playable, and I got money for it. I asked her the one day, what would you give me for an arcade 1-up? And she turned to me, she said to me, honestly, she says, I don't want it. They don't sell. And she said, all it does is take up space in my store. It takes up a lot of space, she says, and they don't sell. Now, there is one pro to owning these things. One thing that I think is really sweet. They look cool in the game room. That's really the huge pro that I find. They just look cool. So obviously behind me, you got, the lit up marquee, which you can't really see because of my camera. But you got Mortal Kombat flushing, the screensaver, whatever mode that goes between whatever. They look really sweet in the game room, guys. And they are visually great. But when you get up close to them, you start noticing the cheapness. The wood that they made is obviously not very good for it. The screens are okay at best. I think some of the newer screens are a little bit better, but don't quote me on that. But the fact that I had to buy risers to even play them is also a horrible thing. Now, I was gifted that 1-up stool back there, which is nice for playing on these. Like I said, my youngest loves it. And when I did try to play Pac-Man, when I was in the mood for it, it was nice to have that. But the fact that I had to buy risers to even be able to use that, because I swear these things were made for 5-foot people. They're made for very short people or kids, because I'm only about 5'10", guys. And when I tried to play them without the riser, I don't know why I was going there, but when I tried to play them without the riser, it was ridiculous. Like, it hurt my back, it hurt my neck, because I had to sit down and play it like this. And that's just not cool. And it would have been different if the risers weren't so expensive, but, at the time, they were $50. The Pac-Man one, I believe, came with it, but like I said, I won that in a raffle at work, so I can't say too much about that. But still, it's just kind of insane how expensive that was. Or how expensive they are, how expensive the risers are. And like I said, they look cool in the game room, so I'm not going to say that they're, whatever. They at least look cool in the game room, and they're an awesome backdrop, and people always comment on how cool they look in here. When people come over the house, they run right over to them, especially my kids' friends and everything. They're like, oh, these are awesome, and they play them. But like I said, they don't know any better. They just have fun just playing against each other. And I don't know. Like I said, one of the other big things I do not like is how it seems that 1-Up every year is just re-releasing them. And Scott the Waz made a video a while back talking about that, how he bought one, and less than a year later they had released a newer special edition that was way more better. And it was like, why couldn't you have done that earlier? Why couldn't you have done that last year and why are you popping them out every year and just changing little things about them? Like, I get it, down the road, a couple years, that you'd have to obviously release a new and better one with LED screens or, stuff like that, or new clicking, whatever, the little quarter slots on the front, stuff like that. I understand that. But when you're releasing the next one the next year where it's got a different marquee but it's going to be $200 more or something like that, I don't understand that. I sometimes hate posting these kinds of videos because, yeah, there will be the shills that come out of the woodwork telling me that I'm stupid, that I need to, that they're not that bad, blah, blah, blah. But I really wonder sometimes, too, if they even played them back in the day, or if, I don't know, it's just, if they were around $200 or something like that, I could see them being more affordable, more affordable in my perspective, and more likely to buy. But when you're damn near charging, $500-$600, plus if you want them to really work good, you have to invest more into them. At that point, why aren't you just saving up a little bit more money and going out and trying to buy the actual cabinet? Or, like some people have said, build your own. If you can get the right dimensions and stuff like that and find a guy that can do woodwork, have him build you the cabinet, buy a CRTV, and invest in a couple, like, you can almost put, like, I've seen somebody build their own, put a CRTV in there, hook a Nintendo up to it on the inside with an EverDrive in it, and then they used the NES Advantage controllers as like their Joy-Cons, and it looked really cool, guys. And at that point, it's almost cheaper to probably do something like that than to invest in these things. Like I said, they look cool in the game room, but that's really about it. I want to know in the comments what you guys think about this. I know some of you guys have them. My buddy Retro Obsessed, I believe he almost has the same exact cabinets as me, the Mortal Kombat and some kind of Pac-Man one. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you guys have any of these? Do you want any of them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Or do you just seem that it's not worth it? So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. As always, stay retro, my friends, and I will see you in the next video.